Hey everybody, what's poppin'? What's up, kids? How's it going? How's life? Ready to go back to school? Not me. I graduated, humble brag. Anyway, this is episode 93. I wasn't able to get my guest on this weekend. Shout out to Austin the Hooligan Yulin. Very talented dude. He does comedy and wrestling, and he makes videos. So he's definitely going to be on in about 2 weeks. I'm going to get this dude Devin Maldonado on next weekend. So that's going to be cool. He works at Ponda Set. I get to ask him beer questions because I love beer. Who doesn't love beer? It's amazing. This episode is a repost from another podcast I have with the homie Zane. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. We're 8 episodes deep. It's called Heard That. And we got a new guest by the name of Janie. She's real cool. It's a fun time. It's a lot crazier than this podcast, I think. It's been crazy so far. But our third episode was Andy Justus, and he's like a local celebrity hero. Really cool guy, really good dude. And I've been wanting to share this one on here just in case you haven't heard it yet. I'm assuming a lot of you haven't, because not everyone has the Anchor app and everything, and not everyone's really looked at the other podcast. But I encourage you to go look at that other podcast if you already heard this episode, and if you haven't heard this episode, enjoy it. You can listen to it twice. It's a good one. Guy's full of wisdom. He's an awesome dude. Had a great time talking to him. I'll probably listen to it again too because it's probably one of my favorite episodes I've ever recorded. I didn't think I'd get a guy that cool on here. No offense to everyone else, but I mean, a guy that cool, a guy that well known, out of my generation, because he's probably the first person I got who wasn't like, around my age group. So I didn't really expect it. Actually, Zane got him on because they had messaged through Facebook, and he's a really cool dude, really awesome. He really supports the city. Talked a lot about food, ambitions, his work ethic, works really hard. Awesome guy, does real estate. So please enjoy the episode, guys. A little bit of my world. We got a show coming up Friday at Golden Light. Very excited. This will be our second show at Golden Light, Comedy Cartel Part 2. First one was crazy, standing room only. It was wild, one of the best shows ever. Crowd was super supportive. It's really awesome to see that in Little Amarillo. We waited 4 months, finally booked it again. Hopefully we get that same energy. Hopefully we get that same hype. So please go out Friday, Golden Light. That'll be the 16th? Yeah. August 16th, 9:30 p.m. Go out to Golden Light. Saul Rodriguez is hosting. We've got a comic from Lubbock, Selena Martinez. She's been on this podcast before. Shout out Selena. I think she's been here twice. Maybe just one time. But yeah, shout out Selena, Saul Rodriguez, Skylar Potter, Chad Sotelo, Gabe Casper, Kevin Mason, Fredo Will. Shout out me as well. Just kidding. But no, it's going to be a great time. $5 to get in. And also, I just got booked for Liberal, Kansas the week after. So might have to skip a podcast. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm excited. Things are going great. I might have just lost a job. I don't know. I didn't get scheduled the next 2 weeks, but it's fine. I mean, I got to focus on what I got to focus on. I can get another job, comedy and podcasting are more important to me right now, even though they don't make any money. It's still fun. It's still a good time, and I appreciate you. And I do have a plan to get more guests on. I apologize for being late on this one, but sometimes patience is a virtue. Actually, all the time, patience is a virtue. At least that's what I tell myself. So, thanks for waiting. Thanks for continuing to follow. Thanks for continuing to support. I did get a sponsor for this podcast, but I don't know how to play the ad. So, it might not ever play. But please enjoy the episode. I'm going to find a quick intro song. I should have been doing that while I was talking, but I didn't. And that's just something that you're going to have to deal with, You know what I should? I should get this band. Who do I want to play? Because I like playing local artists. Who is your favorite local artists? Guys, who do you look up to? I look up to myself. No, I'm just playing. I'm just ranting, waiting for Spotify to upload. Spotify sucks on a desktop. What else is going on in my world? The other podcast. Check out the other podcast. It's called Heard That. We're still working on another name, but it's fun. It's a good time. Got a bunch of shows coming up. I'm trying to keep it low key locally because I feel like Amarillo, you you give them too much comedy, they stop caring. So you really gotta make it more special, more of an event. So they're like, ooh, let's leave our house. You know? I was cutting back on drinking, but I didn't. That's just a thing I say every month. Haven't done heroin. Ever. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Shout out to anyone who has done heroin. I need to get a heroin person on the podcast because I'm curious as to how it goes, you know? Do you shoot it up every time? Can you smoke it? I don't know. If you do heroin, DM me. Find me on Facebook or Instagram. Message me. Let me know. We'll get you on here. What else? Just trying to get more local people. I am going to have Lake Dads on soon. I spoke with them. Really cool local band. And I want to get Smooth Taste on as well. Both really awesome bands I've been listening to a lot of. They're really cool. I kind of want to play a Smooth Taste track. So I think that's what I'm going to do, you know. Smooth Taste. I played them a couple times on here. They were on tour together with the Lake Dads. And they killed it. Went all over the West Coast. And we're just jamming away. Jamboree. But thank you for listening, guys. This song is brought to you by the band Smooth Taste. They dropped an album recently. You should check it out. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. There's other places where there's music. Tidal, maybe? I don't know. I can't afford Tidal, but it's probably over there, I'm assuming. Just waiting for this to upload. I have a slow computer, guys, and it's giving me some trouble. But I appreciate you hanging in there. I should really edit this intro down to where I'm not just talking randomly. What's going on in your world? Jeffrey Epstein died. That guy. He suicided himself, allegedly. Some people think it was Trump. Some people think it was the Clintons. I have no idea. I just know he was a pedophile, and it's cool when they don't exist. So, yeah, shout out those guys not existing. I don't encourage anyone to take their life, but, you know, go somewhere else. Go to a different planet. Like go to Mars or maybe the moon, you know. I don't know. Be an astronaut. Be stuck up there. Find a nice prison to isolate yourself in so you don't get urges. But shout out to heroin again. I just want a big shout out. One of the sponsors of this podcast is, in fact, heroin. Okay, I finally got this up and running, I believe. Let me click on it. Coming through. So this intro is brought to you by Smooth Taste. It's a delicious band. They taste smooth. They have a great sound. I think they're like neo soul, as described on Spotify. This track is called Buffering. Just kidding, it's not. It is literally buffering. It's gonna take another 20 seconds for this thing to come up. But make sure y'all come out to Golden Light Friday, okay? I'm not playing with y'all. This album came out on June 14th. I'll go ahead and play it. I think I played most of these songs already, but I'm gonna play them again because they're awesome. Let's go with Headed Towards the Sun, where leaves don't bleed red, boxcar for my head to red, Jim said the West is the best.
I haven't, and
okay.
But I love listening to podcasts. My brother does one in Flagstaff that I listen to I listen to a bunch of different ones, but
nice.
Yeah. I enjoy it. My background started in radio, so
Really?
yeah,
I did not know that.
yeah. So way back in the day, you guys, it would have been Kiss FM. This is before it was like Kiss FM, and then I did C93, and yeah.
Long and later.
Cool.
All right, you're listening to the Heard That podcast. I'm Matt Villegas.
I'm Zane Martinez, and we are here with Andy Justus.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming
Welcome.
on.
Yeah.
Favorite local newsman.
Facts.
You guys are too kind. You guys are too kind. So I gotta ask, what made you guys pick me? We kind of was mentioning this a little bit. Like, what was the thing? You're like, hey, I'm gonna reach out to Andy on Facebook and just see if he'll do this.
You had taken a picture of you holding up a sod poodle sign.
Uh-huh.
And when you were holding up the sod poodle sign, you looked really sad. You were looking down at the sign, and your facial expression just told me, like, "Damn, we're really the Sod Poodles." That's our name. That's the one we got stuck with.
That's still on your Facebook, right?
Yeah, it's still on my
Nice.
my cover photo.
Yeah, and then I took another one because one of your friends works at a place where I get my hair cut.
Yes,
and they showed me that
Sylvia.
Yeah, Sylvia, and so I snapped another
video
video for you. So yeah. The Sod Poodles.
She had sent me that video on Snapchat, and it was random too. I just woke up and I just see her, and then I see you, and I was like, "Oh, it's Andy Justus! Wow."
Yeah,
that's cool.
There you go.
We got our first celebrity, so it's good.
Well, I don't know about that. You guys are digging at the bottom of the barrel here, but I will tell you about being sad about the Sod Poodles. It's one of those things that you kind of get used to it. I hearken it to an IPA. The first IPA I had, I was like, "Ooh, man, that's too much for me."
Mm-hmm.
And then the more now all I drink is like when I have a beer, I have an IPA. That's just my taste buds have changed, and so my taste buds kind of began to evolve around the Sod Poodles. And when you just kind of dive into it and go, "Yeah, you know what? This is eventually not bad. Now I love it." Yeah,
eventually it grows on you.
That's an excellent way to put it, because. Yeah, I feel the same way about IPAs and the Sod Poodles. Like I voted for them on Facebook, like as a joke. And I was like, it probably won't happen.
And then it happened.
Yeah, then it happened.
Well, it was kind of a stacked deck because you looked at all the other ones and you were like long haulers, like jerky. You go through those names and then
boot scooters.
Yeah, you go through all that and you're like, hey, I think Sod Poodles. And then the name ended up winning in a contest on
Twitter,
on Twitter on the like the Fox baseball or something. It was nuts.
Yeah, they did a Twitter poll of who in Texas has, or I think just all of the minor league.
Yeah. And
who had the best name, and Sod Poodles won.
It was between us and I think El Paso Chihuahuas.
Yeah.
So
but I mean, Amarillo's embraced it like way more than I kind of expected. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see.
Have you guys been to a game yet?
I haven't yet. Have you?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's I'm a baseball fan, and I've been to several major league ballparks, and it just has a different feel. I originally did sports circa 95, 90. No, let's see, it was 97 is when I started, and so I went out to the De La Villa, which was just old and
beat down.
It was beat down, and it had seen better days, and so to go there, and there is a sense of pride when you kind of walk in. You're like, This is what I heard most of the time. This doesn't feel like Amarillo, like when you're in there.
That's cool.
I agree.
People say it feels like you're out of town when you go inside.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like you're Oklahoma City. Feels like you're. It feels good.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people are upset about like the money we put into it and everything, but I feel like it's good overall for Amarillo, in my opinion.
I mean, I don't know a person that likes to spend money. Like, I mean, even I don't. Just this morning, I set this goal for my girls. I'm like, okay, we do this. You know what little pom poms are? The little cotton colored balls. You get them at Michael's or.
Okay,
yeah. Hobby Lobby or whatever. So we do this. You earn a pom pom if you do something good, like if you're helping mom out or you feed the dogs or whatever. You earn these little pom poms, and they have this little glass jar they put them in, and if you get to the top, you get the whatever it is that you wanted.
The reward system.
The reward system. Okay. Yeah, you're trying to get your kids doing that, and so my youngest, my 6-year-old, reached the top of her pom pom, and what she wanted was this like ridiculous little horse set, whatever, and I didn't think it through. I was like, yeah, and then I go to buy it today, and it's like $70.
Oh wow!
And I'm like, what have I done? so I hearken that back to nobody enjoys spending money, but sometimes when you're growing, and Amarillo is growing, in the sense it's coming up here in 2020, we'll hit over 200,000. and we'll begin to see things change. Yeah, I mean, Amarillo is, and so progress is tough, and spending money is never fun. I don't know of anybody again that likes to do it, but if you want to grow and if you want to be at the top, and you gotta start doing something. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's interesting.
I'm glad that we're better than Lubbock still.
Anything, right? Anything to keep us better than Lubbock. Yeah, that's a fun little thing. And they got into the game a little late on wanting that ballpark. The people down there was this deal where maybe a minor league team was going to go there, and it came to Amarillo. So,
do you? I've heard talk about the renovating the Civic Center. Is that supposed to go through soon?
Well, it's one of those things. The voters rejected it the last time that it came up for on the ballot, where there was this. They did this. There were multiple things that they put on there of what you wanted to pay for, and Amarillo voters didn't vote for it. That was one of the things that they just didn't do. I'm hoping so. I'm proud of Amarillo. I was born here. I was raised here. I love it. I want to see more. I want to see that growth, and sometimes it takes tax dollars to do it, and sometimes you got to step behind it and say I agree. But I think for what Amarillo is doing, we continue to grow. That place needs some help. It needs some TLC.
I think it would be a lot cooler if they did rebuild the Civic Center so we can get more bigger artists here.
Yeah, like they had Metallica was in Lubbock, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy that we have this giant place, but we don't ever get anybody booked.
I know. I went to true story. So the other day I went and watched Foreigner.
Great movie.
Yeah, Foreigner came into town and I went and watched. I was like,
I don't even know.
Yeah, it's now you shouldn't know. He's like, it's a great movie.
There is a movie called The Foreigner.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, The Foreigner, the band.
The band Foreigner is really good.
Okay, so like I grew up like in the '80s, and so it's this rock band from the '80s. Most people, trust me, when we were there. I fit right in with the demographic. I just turned 46, so.
Oh yeah, April. Yeah. I saw that on Facebook.
April 24th. Yeah. So
happy belated birthday.
Well, thank you. So Foreigner. It was awesome, but it was just so condensed. It's not. We're getting bands that were hot in the '80s, not bands that are current in 2019.
Yeah.
So.
They just had. I think last year they had Russ. Do you know who Russ is?
Russ.
He's a rapper.
Really? No, I didn't.
He made the news just by driving his bus through, because like all the young people like followed him.
I think I remember hearing this. Like, they got out there on Twitter, and everybody's like, "Oh, we gotta go check this out."
He had stacks of money next to him on his interview. I thought that was funny.
And then he ended up actually coming back to Amarillo because I guess people here showed him so much love, and I want to say he might be one of the first rap artists that performed at the Civic Center.
Really?
From my knowledge,
he's probably one of the biggest we've had in a while. I mean, I don't know.
Because I've seen pictures of him at the Civic Center, and it was just jam packed. It looked like a stadium in Dallas.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like most rappers just go to bodegas.
Yeah, bodegas.
Man, I haven't been to bodegas in years. I think seriously. I'm thinking back. I think the last time I walked in there, it was my bachelor night.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we just went in there to have a few drinks. Yeah,
nice.
That was 13 years ago. We just hit our anniversary of 13 years, so it would be 13. It's been a while. So
yeah, it was probably a different place then.
Mm-hmm. I'm old though, guys. It's all right.
They said that bodega
40's not old.
Bodegas is supposed to be a Chicago themed bar or club. But I have family members from Chicago, and they go there sometimes. They're like, "This is nothing like Chicago."
Yeah, there's not enough guns in there.
Dude, I love Chicago. I went there because I wanted to go watch the Cubs, and so we went to Chicago, and Chicago had a great vibe to it. I really, I dug it. It was really cool.
I hear great things about Chicago.
Yeah,
it's really just like 1 or 2 neighborhoods that's really bad. The rest of it's amazing.
Nah, I've been to Chicago at least about 7 times.
Really?
And every time I go, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But I've never got the whole Chirac thing, how they call it Chirac, because of all the gangs and stuff. I've never seen any of it.
I wasn't in that area, but
I think that's just what makes headlines, really.
Yeah. I stayed in a condo, so
I'm in a condo. Like, you're bougie at that point. You're like, look, I'm not. I'm just.
I was in a condo, so I don't know anything about that.
Pretending to get robbed.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys want to talk about, man?
Well, I was gonna talk about. I was kind of going to go into like if you're paying attention to the local election, and if you had any candidates that you noticed that stuck out to you.
Well,
or if you're even allowed to talk about that since you're like a influencer.
Well, I love the democratic process, and I love that whether it's incumbents or people that just want to get out there and be a part of it, I strongly encourage it. I don't ever like an election where it's like, we're running unopposed. I want to see the democratic process play out.
For sure.
And I think it's important that we see new ideas and that we see. I really appreciate, and again, this is not an endorsement on anybody, because I don't do that. I don't endorse anybody. I'm an observer that sits on the sidelines and kind of watches it kind of play out. I don't have, and we don't, I don't put signs in my yard. Even if I have friends who have run or are running or have been a part of the process before, there is never anything. I don't ever post anything on Facebook. They win on their merits alone. I like it when people that typically don't play out in the democratic process get involved, and so I also think the more the merrier. You get more ideas, and even though the ideas aren't maybe the candidate that had that idea, they don't win. But they brought something to the table that maybe whoever gets elected then takes that in and takes that to the next step.
They go there to plant the seed.
I think Hayden Pedigo is a young kid, and I appreciate that generation waking up and going, hey, I want to get involved in the democratic process. I want to get out there and I want to throw some ideas out. So I think it's good, and I think Amarillo. I think the tough thing for Amarillo is we don't show out. Especially in local elections. I mean, here we go. The election's coming up on Saturday, and most people will forget about it, and then they'll wake up Sunday and go, "Oh yeah, I thought I was going to vote for so and so, or I was going to," and they don't. So I think. I always want people to play out in the democratic process. I want it to include everybody. I want people to get involved. I want people to go vote. And again, I love our process. That's what makes us so great.
Absolutely.
Is somebody who's not a typical politician can jump out there and go, hey man, I want to make a difference. I want to make a change. And then I always encourage for people who maybe not win, not to give up, but ask to be on boards, ask to be on committees, and get involved in that way. And I think that's important to do, because Amarillo has a ton of different committees and boards that they can serve on. If they don't jump into that seat or they don't get elected, don't give up. Like keep getting those ideas out there.
Absolutely, I agree. I was going to bring up Hayden Pedigo. He said, I was listening to a podcast with him, and he said 40% of Amarillo is under the age of 30. And I just thought that was, I don't know if that's a real statistic. But yeah, it's like there's a lot of young people, and it's time that we start kind of getting involved. And even if he doesn't win, I think just him being there is kind of opening a window for other people to be like, oh, he's 24 and he's trying. Like maybe we can do something,
Absolutely.
That's important.
And not just on that level, but if you see something that needs fixed, jump out there and volunteer and say, hey man, we need to, I don't like how, let's just pick a topic. I don't know, whatever. Let's just say animal welfare. You didn't ask to serve on that board and say, hey, look, I want to get involved in this. This is something that's passionate about that. And I think, I remember getting politically active when I was in college. I remember thinking, yeah, man, I need to wake up, and I need to make sure that my voice is heard. And you may not like my idea, but here it is. Let's talk about it. And
Absolutely.
I think we have politics shouldn't have so much vitriolic. It shouldn't be so butting heads. It should be a culmination of ideas. I've always not subscribed to, you're a Republican or you're a Democrat. It's like, man, look, let's get together and combine something for the good of the people. Let's not just subscribe to, well, I'm on this team or I'm on this team. It's like, man, let's come up with a solution. So I appreciate it when people get involved. And we're kind of seeing this in this election. I think, again, Pedigo's a good description of somebody who is outside the norm in terms of his age, just kind of getting in there and saying, hey, I want to be involved in it.
Yeah, I like the way you said that. It should be just a group of people bringing it together and getting some ideas out,
right?
Instead of how it's looking like now. Because when I watch the news, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, it looks like a gang.
I mean, it is. I don't know. I think we're losing the statesmanship in politics of saying, look, Matt, you and I might not agree on a subject, but we can be civil about it. And then I can listen to your ideas and you can listen to mine, and maybe we can come up with a solution together, as opposed to saying, Zane's over here, I don't agree with him at all, I don't want to listen to him. His ideas are crazy. That's not what I can do. And I think when we sit down and we begin to listen to one another, I think that's when we can get firm solutions.
Get some stuff done.
Yeah.
But it's because of social media, it's easy to get into an echo chamber where it's like, these are just my ideas. And anything different from that, I don't have to.
Yeah, you're wrong.
To look at.
Well, I had a conversation with a guy. I was in Dillard's. I was getting some ties, and I had them laid out there. And the guy noticed there were more than just one tie. And he was like, "Oh, you wear a lot of ties." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, what do you do?" I said, "Well, I'm on the news." And the guy said, "Well, I hope you don't work for that fake news." And I said, "Well." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And he said, "Well, that's just the CNN's terrible. It's fake news. It's this, that, and the other." And I said, "Well," what makes it what? Because I wanted to know, because I hear that being a journalist and being in the news, you hear that all the time. And you're like, what makes it fake? Is it fake because it doesn't subscribe to how you believe or how you think? Because in the news, facts are facts. And they don't flow. They're either facts or facts. And so I began to talk to him about, what he watches. And I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I listen to a little bit of everything, because if I'm just listening to one side, or if I'm just going to one website to get my news, national news, then I'm leaving out a whole segment. So I go out there and I search for the news because I want to know what both sides are. And so I'm having this conversation with this gentleman, and he was just locked on. He said, and he started telling me of all the shows that he watched, and it was I could have told you exactly which ones they were before he even said it. And he was like, well, these are whatever. And I said, and I get that, sir. And I said, you watch those particular programs because they are in line with how you think and how you believe. It caters to exactly what you
their demographic.
Your demographic. Yeah. And then and it's funny if somebody comes on and says something completely opposite, it's just like, I don't think news should be partisan. I think news should be facts.
Absolutely.
It's either there or it's not. But 24-hour cable news changed all that because they had all of this time, and we got to fill it. And there's only so much solid news that you have in a day. So then you've got to get 5 or 6 people, talking heads, to get up and to throw out their diatribes about how they feel or how they think. And so
it gets real anchorman.
Right, it does. And so I get to a point where I'm like, it's really important that you know the difference between a news program and a news show. Okay? It's just really what you're watching. You're watching an opinion. It's like opening up the paper and reading a news story, but then flipping over to the editorial. That line has been blurred. And I think that's where we kind of get, it's like, I don't need your opinion, and as a news person, I need you to tell me
some evidence, some facts.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you check the comments on Facebook, like when
I try not to.
That's the devil, man. You gotta stay away from it.
When any local news station posts an article, someone's just like, "Oh, the progressives are taking over Amarillo." Like, it's just an article, dude. Like, it's not even an opinion. It's just
I truly. I have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, so you can imagine we watch lots of Disney and lots of Pixar. And I recently watched Ralph Breaks the Internet, and there's this subject, where they're out in the basically in the internet, and they're going to different places, and there's eBay, and then he makes a mistake and he goes into the segment of comments.
Ooh.
But it's it is that bad place. And
that's not PG.
Well, it goes into that comment place where people can just it's easy to be mean when you're not standing face to face with that person.
Exactly.
But it's it's hard to hate face to face. And so that's why because you're two people and you're like, hey, let's kind of figure this out, as opposed to just throwing out some random stuff. So I don't get into the comments. I really I won't dive into it, because everybody has their conspiracy theories, or I think this, and I'm like, is it based in evidence? Like, what evidence do you have? Have you tried to find out the other side? But it's just I do not like.
A lot of the times, I feel like people are just looking for something to be mad about, so they can feel a part of something.
Right. And it gets more clicks.
Yeah.
And it gets more response. It's like, let me find something to be controversial out. Let me throw my hot take out. Let me kind of blow this thing up, so that way I can get some big clicks, and I don't know. I'm not a fan of the comments.
Some stuff that doesn't matter in real life. A little bit of likes.
Man, at the end of the day, I subscribe heavily subscribe to love your neighbor. That neighbor that doesn't look like you, the neighbor that doesn't talk like you. It doesn't. There are no extenuating circumstances. When I read that in my faith, it says, "Love your neighbor." Period. Full stop. End of sentence. That's it. So that's what that's the way I subscribe, and I don't have to have the same political ideology of you. I don't have to be the same age, but I am going to err on the side of love, even if I don't get it, even if I don't maybe fully understand. I just love it out, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get into like how you got started. I remember you when I was in 8th grade. You came to my school, Canyon Junior High.
Yeah.
And you talked about going to Boys Ranch. And
Yeah.
how you just saw, I think you said you saw like a commercial, and you're like, oh, that sounds cool.
Boys Ranch rodeo commercial, yeah. And it's funny now because I'm the voice of that commercial.
Wow,
that's awesome.
When you see that commercial come on during the summer, I'm a huge ambassador of Cal Farley's Boys Ranch because of what it did for me. And again, I can't tell you what it meant for somebody else. I can tell you exactly what it meant for me, and it was a lifesaver for me.
Were you bad?
It's fun. No, it's funny that you say that because when I asked my mom, I asked my mom. I said, "Hey, will you send me to Boys Ranch?" And she said, "No, it's a place for bad kids." And I'm 12 at the time. I didn't know what that meant. I probably got in the same amount of trouble that I think most kids get into at the age of 12. Give you a little background. I went to 9 different elementary schools.
Wow.
We moved around a lot. My mom was a single parent. She was raising 3 of us, and she was making minimum wage. She had an 8th grade education. We looking back on it, we were getting evicted from place after place. Sometimes we'd live with family members. Sometimes we'd live in this trailer house for a while. We just kind of hopped all the way around. And so I was behind. I was significantly behind in school, in math and reading. And I knew where my life was going. I had it telegraphed. My sister dropped out of school in the 8th grade. My mom did. I found out my dad did. It was just a thing. You just make it far. And so I feel like there was a presence on my spirit, like, hey, this is not going to go well. This is not going to end well in the neighborhood that you're growing up in. Guys, to give you a full picture of the neighborhood I grew up in, my best friend's brother stabbed somebody on Polk Street.
Wow.
I was asleep at another friend's house. I remember we had spent the night at his house, and his parents came home. It was late, and they woke us up, and me and my friend had to walk home because they had to tell our friend that his brother had been killed.
Oh, wow.
So we grew up in that atmosphere. So I knew that I needed out, and I think, and I'm fairly spiritual, and I felt like that there was just this call on to get out. So I'd seen the commercials about Boys Ranch. I was like, oh, they got horses. That looks kind of cool. And by this time, my dad had kind of come back into the picture a little bit, and he was married to somebody who knew some of the board of directors, and they kind of talked to me a little bit about it. So I was like, yeah, I want to go. So I don't think that there's a concept of a bad kid. Now, I'm going to go way out on something here, Zane. So I think that kids are put in bad situations and they're put in bad environments, and it begins to taint the kid. And I think the kid in itself is okay, but I think all the surrounding stuff that begins to kind of, I always equate it to a sponge. You know, if you take a sponge right out of a wrapper, it's good. It's a good, clean sponge. But if I take that brand new sponge and I immediately put it in dirty water, it becomes a dirty sponge. But if you put it in clean water, it's a clean sponge. So that's what I felt like Boys Ranch was to me, was this kid. I had some dirt on me. I was a little messy, and I got dipped into clean water, and I got rinsed out, and I got a fresh start. So, yeah, it was good. It was good. But I knew, I will tell you, I knew at the age of 12 what it was like to be in a police car. I knew that, and in our neighborhood, I knew. I knew what drugs were. I'd seen them. They'd been in the house. I was very familiar with that lifestyle as a young age. But again, I don't think it was being a bad kid. It was being in a bizarre environment. So, yeah, I mean, I remember my sister's best friend getting shot. I mean, he was. It was a messed up neighborhood. We lived up. I mean, it was messy, and so Boys Ranch was that redemption for me. It was a fresh start. It wasn't easy. I'll tell you that. It was not. It was hard saying goodbye to your family and going out there. And my little brother went with me, but man, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I mean, it dramatically changed my life and put me on a trajectory that got me to where I am today.
That's awesome.
This is why I love doing podcasts too, because you actually get to know somebody. Like for me, like looking at you, I'm just like, it's Andy Justus. Just like, some cool white guy who's on the news. Probably grew up in a very nice home, but when you actually tell your story, it's like, wow, I didn't know that.
No.
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, I spent I grew up most of the time on the east side of Amarillo. My favorite school was Humphreys Highland. That was because I went there twice. I was there like in the first grade and like second, then I came back like fifth and sixth grade. I loved Humphreys Highland. I went to Oakdale, Emerson, Whittier, Forest Hill, San Jacinto, East Ridge, Sunrise. I mean,
you went everywhere.
I went everywhere, especially over on that side. And I think, and I mean, I wouldn't change all those experiences for anything. I remember being younger and being jealous of people that had like families that kind of had their stuff together. And then as you get older, you realize it's okay. We're all different, and your experiences, they make you or they break you.
Builds character,
and it does. And I think I go and kind of share my testimony, whether it's Canyon 8th graders or I'm speaking to I'm meeting this next week. I'm speaking at the graduation of River Road. Awesome. Oftentimes I've done Canyon's baccalaureate. I've done Boys Ranch's graduation. But when I tell my story, and I recently went out to Boys Ranch on a Wednesday night during their chapel service, and I kind of gave them a little bit of my testimony, and I let them ask questions. I think I know it's kind of cliche, but our mess can be our message, and say, look, it's not who you are or where you've been. This is a saying out of Cal Farley's. It's not who you are or where you've been, but it's where you're going that counts. And I truly believe that, man. Regardless of your past, if it's a little bit messy, you can turn it around. We always tell my girls, let's have a good second half. Like if we're kind of struggling in the day, I'm like, hey, let's have a good second half. Let's change it. Let's have a good second half. So I think that's
a great way to look at it.
Yeah, let's have a good second half.
You gotta have that little halftime where everybody just sits down for a second, cools down, and
reset,
yeah,
and go. And my second half was made possible because of Cal Farley's Boys Ranch and a lot of the staff members out there that believed in me. To this day, the athletic director, who was my best friend's father, who worked out there, is the person I call my dad.
Really?
He is the only papa that my girls know. We see each other almost every Sunday. And they're my family. So yeah, good.
Awesome. Yeah. From just researching you a little bit, I know you're big into sports. Were you playing sports at Boys Ranch?
I attempted to. I was terrible.
No.
Are you a Cowboys fan?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, thank God.
Saw that on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm hardcore into the Cowboys, but I'm a realistic Cowboys fan. I'm not the guy who's like, every year we're gonna win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
It's
Oh
like,
no, we're trash right now.
yeah. I'm like, look,
We're gonna win the NFC East.
You think so?
Yeah,
I think so. I think so.
the
I think
Giants
we can
ruin themselves.
I think we can do that. I think Washington did some really good things in the draft yesterday. I think their defense is going to be solid. I think they got the quarterback of the future. They did a lot of good things that I really liked a lot. But yeah, I grew up but I was terrible. The one sport I excelled in was wrestling, because. Guys, I was small. Like in the 7th grade, I weighed like 78 pounds. It was funny because every grade, I gained 10 pounds. So in 8th grade, it was like I think I wrestled in the 80s, and then in the 9th grade in high school, I was 98 pounds. Mm-hmm. So I wrestled the lowest weight that you possibly could be, and it was 98 pounds. And I excelled in that. I went to state.
Nice.
I wanted to be a football player, but I was so small. Like I had a love of football. I would get crushed. And so, I tried to be an athlete, and it didn't look good on me.
I see.
But I was out there. I mean, it's one of the things. And then I switched over and started playing basketball, and I did all the intramurals in college. Really that's kind of how I got started doing sports is, I was in theater, one-act play, speech debate. I was in all those things out of Boys Ranch. And I wanted to be an athlete. It never really worked out. So I was like, man, you can get a job where you talk about sports. Mm-hmm. And so that's the thing that I was a wannabe athlete. So.
And you started out doing radio? Were you covering sports on Kiss FM?
I wasn't. It's funny. I was the sports director at 91.1, the radio station, the one down in Canyon, KWTS. Mm-hmm. I was their sports director, and then I did a weekly show. But I had a good friend of mine, Billy Dawson at the time, who I still talk to this day, who also went out to Boys Ranch. He was on Z9. He was on Kiss FM. His name was James Dean on the radio. And he got me this internship at Kiss FM, and I started, and then he left, and then a guy named Andy Metters, who on radio went by Drew Bennett, who was also a friend of mine. I just started as an internship there, and then they would let me go on the air every once in a while, and so I did that, and then I did a little bit at Z93. I would work like overnights or weekends, just kind of getting some money when I could, and but yeah, I remember the songs that I would play back then. I kid you not. Do you guys know who Crash Test Dummies are?
Yes.
I've heard of them, never listened to a song.
It's, them, the Counting Crows. Those bands were on the radio. They were being played when I was in radio, which was a long time ago. Again, that would have been like circa 93.
I wasn't born yet.
93,
One more year, I would have been born.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
we're both 25.
Matt and Zane, thanks for making me feel old. That's awesome. That's great.
No problem.
We're all
that's
old enough
cool,
to drink, so.
So you went to WT. Was it were you in electronic media, or I guess be broadcasting?
Yeah, broadcasting.
Okay.
So I actually started out when I went to WT. I took a speech and debate scholarship, and I went there and competed on the speech and debate team and did some theater too. And the radio department just happened to be there, and one of my what would become my mentor, Dr. Lee Browning. She was phenomenal, but she would travel with us on the speech and debate teams, and she was involved in the broadcasting department. So she kind of pulled me in and was like, "Hey, here's this thing. You want to get involved in this?" And next thing you know, like I gave up everything and jumped into the broadcasting department, and I loved every minute of it. But my time at WT was so enjoyable. I got to experience a lot through speech and debate, doing theater, and then doing radio. It was good.
Nice. Did they have the studio there's pretty nice. I was a mass comm major, so I was always in the fine arts complex.
Yeah.
And I was a DJ for one semester, and it was fun. But I know quite a few people that went into broadcasting and stuff like that. I'm not sure where they're at now. I know I have a friend in Dallas, Anthony Miller. He was here locally for a while. Chase Wilbanks, Malcolm Montgomery, who passed away recently, rest in peace. But yeah, I had quite a few friends who were into broadcasting and electronic media, so I kind of had a little taste of it, but I didn't go fully into it.
Well, when you were there, Matt, then you had the nice stuff. Like before that, we had some. It was back in the day. We had some rough. I kid you not. When I first started at the radio station, I was playing records. I'm literally
records, like the big fat ones.
Yes, yeah, like albums,
Vinyls. That's what
vinyls.
it's called,
Yeah. So that's crazy, but WT's great. I love it. I'd be happy if my girls went to school there. It's a good place.
Definitely is.
How do you save from back in the day? Was it true? Like if somebody bumps into the vinyl, it'll mess up like live on air too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Absolutely. And it would if you had a bad record, it would skip.
Mm-hmm.
You could skip that, and then we went from when I first started. We were kind of some records, and we were some on cart. They called them carts at the time. Basically, looked like a mini 8-track tape, and but it wasn't. You'd play that, and then we transitioned luckily into CD. That was
A little easier.
yeah. Well, you don't have to like worry about putting the needle at the perfect spot and like setting it up. You just go and you hit play. You're like track 3, play, done. I'm out. So it was good. WT is a good place, and I wish there would have been more money in radio. I love it. From time to time, I'll get on sports talk radio and kind of do that, but there's just not. It's hard to make a living. I mean, journalism right out of college is hard. I mean, I was making minimum wage as my first job was a photographer at Channel 7, and I was making, I want to say it was like $5.25 an hour.
And that's like an on-call job, right? Like something just happened, we need you here with the camera.
Well, so you were you worked your regular schedule, and then you had an on-call. So I would have an on-call night. So I would take my camera in my car home like on Wednesday night. If something happened overnight, then we'd have a guy that would call us and say, hey, there's a wreck at Techland 34th, and so then you go over there and you do that, and I did a lot of that's how I kind of got started. I got a photographer job, and I worked there for a little bit, and I moved off to St. Louis for like 6 months. It was the worst 6 months of my life, and then I moved back and I begged for a job. I kid you not, guys. I mean, I went. I'm making like $5.25 an hour, and I think I got bumped up to $5.75 at Channel 7, and so I was like, man, I got to make some money.
Wait, was that minimum wage back in the day?
$5.25 I think may have been just a scotch over it, not much. It was down there.
It's gone up $2.
Yeah, which it should be up more than that. I mean, $7.25 still. I'm still
absurd.
Subscribed to. I mean, pay people a living wage. It's hard. I mean, I grew up in a family that we made that, and it's hard. It's hard to do that, especially your mom on an 8th grade education. But anyhow, yeah. I was in St. Louis, and I was making $40,000 a year. I thought I was rich, man, because I went from making that. I went to work for IBM, got this job. It didn't have anything to do with broadcast journalism. It had to do with mainframes. I'm like working on a mainframe computer with my clients were, I think it was Lockheed Martin and Boeing. I was so out of my lane doing that, and I was miserable. It was like a call center. It was terrible.
Oh man!
And I remember I lost like 25 pounds. I was depressed. It was terrible, and I came back and basically begged for a job. And 7 didn't. I went to 7 first. I was like, hey man, I'll do whatever. I'll tear scripts. Like tearing scripts back in the day. Now it's just on you have an iPad that all the scripts are on. But back in the day, you'd have this giant printer, and it would print everything out, and then you would tear the scripts, and so each person, like production got one, audio got one, an anchor got one, you go down. It was the lowest job you could have. I was like, look, I'll tear scripts, I'll do anything, and they were like, we just don't have anything. And I went over to Channel 4, and Ev Aver was the news director, and I had some friends that worked there, and I walked in, and I said, look, I'll do anything. I mean, I swear to you, I will do anything. Give me a job. And they had a sports photographer job open. It was like sports photographer, some reporting, and maybe you would be on air, maybe. And I said, and I didn't have a resume with me. I didn't have a resume tape. I begged. I was like, look, I'll do this job. Pay me. I think at that time it was like $6.25. I was like, pay me $6.25. If you like what I do, give me a raise. If you don't like what you do, just fire me. But please give me a shot. That was in November of 1997.
Wow. And
I've been there ever since.
Nice. So,
yeah. Luckily, I make more than $6.25 an hour now.
It's an awesome story.
Those were hard times. I literally, you had to have roommates. I always had roommates because you didn't make a lot of money. So I had a roommate at the time, Aaron McReynolds. We lived in an apartment, and I remember, like, I would get extra Taco Bell packets every time I'd go to Taco Bell. So that was my idea of hot sauce. And so I would take, this was so low rent, but I would just eat tortillas, cheese. That's what I had in the refrigerator. And I eat tortillas, cheese, and Taco Bell hot sauce.
We call that a quesadilla.
Yeah,
But it was that nasty cheese, though.
Oh, the government cheese?
Oh, yeah. It was nasty, but you're just like rolling it up. I would literally roll it up and just dip it in the hot sauce. And I mean, it was.
I think we've all been there.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think you have to be there. I think you have to go through those times of you got to know what the struggle is. Mm-hmm. You know, you got to know what the ramen tastes like. So that way when you have the filet, you're like, okay, I know what this is. And so our struggles make us.
Absolutely.
Our disadvantages provide fuel to get us to where we need to go. And so I just remember I was like, I don't like living paycheck to paycheck. It was tough, but again, it gives you that perspective.
Is there anything that you wish you would have known when you first started doing news that you know now?
Let me think if there's anything that I wish that I had known. I think I went into it eyes wide open, knowing that you weren't going to make a whole lot, especially early on. You were going to work long hours, and you were going to it was just going to be different.
Yeah.
I think most people who get into it now are like, I just want to be on TV. And I'm like, man, there are so many other things that you have to do before you get to that point. You have to go out there. You have to get your foot in the door doing what, I remember begging for whatever job I could do. And there's people, I think, coming out of school going, man, I just want to be on TV. And I'm like, no, man, you gotta get down there and grind a little bit.
You gotta do the work.
You got to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And so, no, I think my eyes were wide open in that, and knowing that it was that way.
Is there, I guess it kind of goes along with it, any advice you would give yourself?
The young Andy?
Yes, young Andy.
Yeah, I would tell him to, I think be patient. I think be more patient, and then enjoy where you are when you're there. Mm. You can still look and say, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z, but I think sometimes we get so the stuff around you kind of get distracted. But man, enjoy when you're there. Be there wherever that is. And
absolutely.
And I think I wanted too much too soon, and I thought that I tell this story of when you're young, when I starting out, I didn't know that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And it takes you gaining that experience and putting those reps in and going through those tough times to go, oh, that experience. And I think I thought, like young coming up, I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I know. And luckily I had some mentors. Dennis De La Pena was one of my, and he still is one of my closest friends. He lives in Austin, but I learned a lot from him, because I remember when I first started doing sports and they were letting me be on air, I thought I had to be that guy from ESPN. I had to have a catchphrase. And so I was trying to be this dude. I was trying to be this guy like I wasn't. And it was at that time when I settled in, and instead of being somebody I wasn't, or trying too hard, or where you just become yourself. And I hope that when people see me in life, that I am who I am on stage. I may not, like, for example, I'm not on set. I may not be wearing a suit, but I'm that same guy that you see on TV. I'm the same guy that you would see at World Market, picking up beer. Like, I'm the same guy. Like, it's just, sometimes I wear a suit and the cameras are on me, and that's it.
Is it true sometimes that you'll be wearing a suit up top, but on the bottom you'll be wearing pajamas?
No. For me, though, back in the day, seriously, Zane, I would do, when I did sports, I'd have shorts on under the desk.
Nice.
Shorts on with the blazer?
Yeah, absolutely. I would come to work every day, and during the summer, I'd have golf shorts, tennis shoes on, and then I would bring, I had all my ties at work. I just kept them up there, and then I kept my suit coats up there. So then you just bring a shirt, a long sleeve shirt, you put that on, put the tie on, put the coat, put the mic on, you go out there, you're none the wiser to it. Like, you don't at home don't know. Mm-hmm. Especially because I'm having to run out to the Dillaville. It's 100 degrees, and I'm having to do, like, I don't want to be wearing a suit. And so that's how I do it. Now I can't do that because we move around so much. So if you watch the KMR Local 4 News, which I highly encourage that you do that, you'll see that we move around a lot. Like, so 1 minute I'm sitting behind the desk, next minute I'm standing up next to a monitor. So you gotta come fully clothed. It's just.
Bet you missed the good old days, huh?
Good old days of just wearing shorts, coming in from the golf course. I'd be on the golf course. I'd come in at 3, and just kind of hang out in a golf polo till right before I went on, and then I would change, throw some makeup on, and go out there.
Is it true that a lot of business deals happen on the golf course?
True, that's true. I mean, a lot of people don't know I sell real estate too.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I was going to get into that.
Yeah, so everybody got to have a side hustle, right?
Of course.
And so my wife was a realtor, and I started helping her out, and I fell in love with that. I mean, I love selling real estate, and so yeah, I absolutely, deals are made on the golf course.
I need to learn how to play golf. I'm terrible at golf.
Well, hey, listen, I've been playing a long time.
Just learn how to walk up to
Zane.
people on the golf course.
Yeah, dude, I'm terrible too. I mean, I've been playing it for long enough. I would have hoped by this time I would have been a lot better, but I'm not. But yeah, I love it. I love being out there. I love, it's a zen place for me. I really do. It's the, it's kind of my release. As a matter of fact, this is normally about the time I start playing, but I'll play up until October, and then I'm off. I don't play at all. But I typically start about March. I'm a little behind, but I had to have surgery recently, so I'm recovering. But I think I'm good. I think I'm good to get out there.
I've noticed that when most people retire, they get big into golf. So when professional golfers retire, do they continue playing, or do they just go find another hobby? I've always wondered that.
I think they continue playing because I think it's one of those sports that you can play forever. I mean, you really can't.
Unless you blow your back out.
Unless you blow your back out, but for the most part, like I'm out there, and I will regularly get beat down by like some
golfers
like 60, 70. They will wear me out because, man, it's just straight down the fairway. It doesn't have to be long. You don't have to be long. Just don't be wrong. And so, it's a great sport. I recently got into tennis too, which I really enjoy. I'm terrible at that.
Tennis is tough.
It's just Megan Collier, who I do the Fox News with and do Studio 4. She's a really good tennis player. So I try to hit her up. Her husband is a tennis coach in Hereford, so I try to hit them up for lessons, but they're not giving freebies out, so I'll continue to be bad.
I think it's important to do things you're not good at, Humble yourself, learn a new skill, because you can only get better. So definitely.
That's right.
Agree with that. I was going to ask, when it comes to like being a news anchor, do you feel more responsible to like follow current events, things like that, and do you have to go out and like memorize things? Like, do you have any freedom? Like, this is a topic I want to cover, or is it all just on the teleprompter for you?
No, there's ad lib involved. That means you kind of can go off some scripts, but for the most part, like a good portion of Studio 4 is that's loosely scripted, which means it gives us an idea, and then we kind of go on. For example, if you were to come on to Studio 4, I'd have some stuff in the prompter, but it doesn't mean that I have to say what's there. I can kind of go off. Typically, when we get to news night, when we get to the news, that's typically all in the prompter. But a lot of times, you'll tell that Jackie and I are kind of we're ad-libbing. You can typically tell. As a matter of fact, we do this fun thing. I'll kind of let your listeners in on this.
Awesome.
A lot of people don't know that we do this, but we do this thing. It's called Word Up Wednesday on Wednesday, and we're going to be doing it this upcoming Wednesday. We'll take a few weeks off, and then we're coming back, but we'll be doing it for like the next month. But Word Up Wednesday is, if you follow my professional page, Andy Justus on Facebook, but it's there. I have a personal one, and then I have like my work one. So if you do the work one, what happens is we start broadcasting live on Facebook. All right, you send words to me. You just type the words in, and Jackie and I try to work those words into the newscast throughout the. So we get there, and we use the hashtag Word Up Wednesday, and so you throw out words as long as they're appropriate and they're and we're not, for example, if we're covering a serious story, we're not going to work those words in there. But there comes time, like when we're talking about weather, or talking about sports, or it's like a lighter story, then we do that. So we. So it's Word Up Wednesday. So on Wednesday, check out my page. We'll be broadcasting live on Facebook, so you'll be able to see it behind the scenes of us talking. And then you'll also, so a lot of people will watch it on their phone and also have the show on, the newscast on, and so they'll watch both of them. Word Up Wednesday. Yeah.
Nice. Is it easy to work it in organically? Or does it just kind of get silly?
It can get silly, but typically we try to work it in an organic way, and we typically, I encourage you guys to go check that out, Word Up Wednesday, and you'll kind of see how it works.
Give it a share.
Yeah, and it's different. It's something that I used to do in sports. That I would let people give me words and I kind of work them in.
That's talent.
Yeah, and just kind of mess around. And so then, so it kind of created this deal where my friend Michael Spencer, who used to be the sports director here, he's now the sports director up in Denver. And so he will do Word Up Wednesday from time to time up in Denver. So it's cool. Word Up Wednesday, check it out.
I don't know if you've ever seen the show How I Met Your Mother.
Yep.
But Robin, the character on there, she was, I guess she had an interview show. And she had a tick where she would always say, and everyone would take a shot. So are there like any inside jokes of like any habits anchors have, anything like that?
Oh, I'm trying to think of anything that I typically. Oh, you put me on the spot. I don't know right now. I do have a funny story for you. This true story. This just happened the other day. This happened Friday. So I do multiple shows a day. So I do one show and multiple newscasts. So I'll do Studio 4 at 4. I'll do the news at 5. I'll do the news at 6. I'll come back and switch, and I'll do an hour-long news on Fox.
Wait, so these are not all on the same network?
No. So most of them are on NBC, and then I'll only do one broadcast on Fox, on Fox 14. So then I'll do an hour. So the 4 o'clock show is an hour. The 5 o'clock is 30 minutes. 6 o'clock, 30 minutes. 9 o'clock is an hour. And then I do 10 o'clock for 30 minutes. Well, Friday had just kind of been a long day. And typically I get done with the 9 o'clock and then I walk over to the 10 o'clock set. I bring up the 10 o'clock scripts and I start getting ready to do that. All right. Well, on Friday, my mind, I checked out. So I get done with the 9 o'clock and I think I'm going home. And now, again, I do this every weeknight, Monday through Friday. I do the same thing. All right. I take off my mic. I take off my earpiece. I loosen my tie. I'm picking up my keys. And my co-anchor, Megan, who's also a good friend, looks at me. And she says, Andy, are you not doing the 10 o'clock news? And sheer terror sets in. You know that where you instantly are sweating, your heart rate goes up, and I think, oh my goodness, and because the 9 o'clock ends at 9:58, and then or 9:57, and then at 9:59, the 10 o'clock start. So it's starting whether I'm out there or not. All right. So now at this point, I'm full panic mode. I start running through there, and then Jackie, my co-anchor at 10, has already started what we call it the super tease. You know, that thing that's coming up tonight, we're taking a look at early voting elections, and there was a wreck in Hartley County. Why sheriff's officials say they've called in Texas Rangers.
Summary.
And the summary, and then it goes, the KMR, Local 4 News at 10, starts after this. Okay? I missed that. I'm not out there. So I have to get my mic, and I run out to the set. So now at this point, I have 30 seconds before that camera comes on. And I'm so discombobulated, because in my mind, I was going home. So Jackie's like, so I'm fixing my tie, I'm throwing the microphone on, I don't have my earpiece in, so I can't hear what anybody's saying. So I just sat down, and I literally sat down, I buttoned my coat, and we're on.
Wow.
And in my mind, you guys may have not have known anything was happening, but in my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I just did this. So yeah, that happened.
Made it on time though.
I was, and again, most people would not have known that I wasn't there.
That's funny.
So
you sound like you're pretty busy with the news and everything. So how do you make time for doing realty?
So to give you guys a concept, I typically go to work at the station between 1:30 and 2 every day in that time frame. And I get out at 6:45, and then I'm typically back up at work around 8, between 8 and 8:20 in that window is when I get back in, and then I'm there until about 11. So we do real estate. My wife is a licensed realtor, and so we work together. So in the mornings, we handle all of our stuff together. We're looking over our contracts, we're looking at our listings, we're making sure we're good. And then anything that has to be done while I'm not there, my wife, Michelle, takes care takes care of it.
Gotta have that backbone.
Man, and I mean, I literally couldn't do both of the jobs. I mean, she's the one that started the whole real estate thing anyway. It was her thing before I got involved. And so I'm telling you, it's a wonderful, for me, it's a hobby that I love. I love dealing in real estate and helping clients, meeting new people, because my job doesn't allow me to do that kind of work. And so it's different, man. It's really good, and it gives us an opportunity to save a little money on the side. So that's good.
Sorry, headphones.
That's
a
all
little
right.
bit.
I was like, what's that noise?
No,
So you make the time in the mornings. Excuse me. I went through a time where I was like showing houses at night on my dinner break this past week. We had some clients that needed to see at that time. It was after they got done working, and so I would show houses between 6:45 and 8:20.
Nice.
And then I come right back and I'm doing it. And then one of the things about having your cell phone, you're always constantly kind of working. I mean, I have, you get a showing them saying, hey, we're doing this thing. We got an offer. So it's good. And we do well. Our typical thing is we try to do, 15 to 20 transactions a year. It's kind of what we shoot for. We don't want any more than that because
It's a big transaction too.
Yeah, 15 to 20, you just try to get in there and do that. And we don't try to take on more than we can chew. We just, we want to just a little side hustle to make some money.
Is there a specific housing area like y'all specialize in?
We do all of them, but we've lived in 3 houses in Olson. Mm-hmm. So I've done a lot of real estate in Olson, just because our friends live over there. Typically, people know that we kind of know what's going on over there. So we end up a lot of homes in Olson, but I've done them everywhere. I've done it in Ridgecrest, Belmar, Greenways. I've done what did I do? I've done Oakdale. I mean, just anyone. I mean, really, it doesn't. I don't get involved in the bigger stuff out at
Colonies.
I don't think I've done anything. I've done a sell in the Colonies. Like, I'll represent buyers. I haven't done any sellers out there, but I'm trying to think like out at the Lake Tanglewood. Like, if somebody said, "Hey, I have a house to sell in Lake Tanglewood," I would refer them out to somebody that specializes in that, because that's a pretty specialized market. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
nice.
But it's good, man. Real estate has been very good to us in the last couple of years that we've done it. It was crazy going back to school, though.
Are you going back to school?
Well, I had to go back to school for the real estate license. I had to do that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so you had to go back. I was taking internet classes. I was doing all that, and then you have to do continuing education, which I just had to do again. Like, every 2 years, you have to take 18 hours. So it's kind of nice. I kind of actually enjoy. I've always enjoyed school. Especially college. I enjoyed college probably too much, but yeah, it was you constantly going back. So it was weird to have to go back into that study mode of like, I got to get these hours, I got to do this, I got to pass this test, and yeah.
But was the whole course online?
I took when I got my license, every single thing I did was online. And then now, as I do my continuing education hours, a lot of times I'll take the classes at a title company or whatever. So,
About how long did it take to, study everything and get the test done?
okay, I know exactly how long it took for me, because I'm sitting there, and we were coming up on Fat Tuesday. I don't remember what year this was, like 4 or 5 years ago. And I was trying to think of something to give up. Mm-hmm. Like, what am I going to give up for, what am I going to do? Am I going to give something up? And then I was like, why don't I take something on? Like, and so I literally created in my mindset, I've got 40 days. I have 40 days to get my real estate license. And I did it.
Wow.
And it was through a lot of sacrifice of our free time, and my wife was really good. I would do it in the morning until I went to work. I'd go to work. I would come home at night. I would do it from whatever time I got home, from 11 to 12:30, 1, and I would reset, and I'd wake up in the morning, and I did it and got everything done in 40 days. By the time from Fat Tuesday to Easter, I had all my classes done. All I had to do was take the test.
Wow.
Take the
That's
big,
awesome.
the big real estate test. You had to take a lot of like little mini tests in between, but yeah.
Are you one of those wake up at 5:30 in the morning people?
Oh no, Zane. Let me tell you something. No. I wish I could. I wish my body allowed me to do that, but I don't. I typically, if I'm helping the girls out in the morning, it's probably 6:45, 7 o'clock. If my wife is doing that and I had a late night at work and I get to sleep in, I typically 8:30, 9. Now, I will tell you, golf does get me up. Like, we're coming up, now that we're getting close to May, I'll probably start waking up a little bit earlier, getting the girls to school, going playing 9 holes, coming home, and doing that in the morning. But yeah, golf is the one thing that will wake me up early. Like when my dad, during the summer, a lot of times we'll be teeing off on the first tee at like 7 in the morning. So
Wow.
I'll wake up I have no problem waking up at 5:30 if I know that I'm going to spend the afternoon on the golf course with my dad.
I love that morning summer breeze at 7 a.m.
so good.
The air just smells fresh.
Yeah.
How many hours of sleep do you average? Because I know there's people who can run off of 4 hours and
I
be
can't.
fine, and there's people that like I need 8 to 9, or I can't do anything.
I'm at 8 to 9. I can't function if I don't get more than 8 to 9.
I'm kind of with Zane over here. I gotta have 8 to 9. If I don't, then it just starts to wear on me. It starts to wear on me. So typically I'll get to bed about 12:30 at night, because I'll get home and I'll have to watch a show or whatever to kind of. The news is so serious most of the time. I have to do mindless television at night when I get home. Like watch reruns of Scrubs or The Office.
Some Jersey Shore.
Man, I can't get into Jersey Shore. It's a train wreck. But I have seen it. But no, I have to have something mindless. Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of my favorite
It's a
shows.
great show.
Yeah, it just has to be where I used to like try to read. And I'm like, no, I need my mind to be able to shut off. So literally last night I've started back on Scrubs, and I'm going all the way through it. So it's just something that I throw on.
Do you watch The Office?
Love it.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Man, I love The Office. That's probably one of my most favorite shows. I remember when it originally came out, like I was like, man, this show is so different. I love it. And there was a time, it was kind of like Seinfeld. I'm a huge Seinfeld fan. The Office almost didn't take.
On you?
No, The Office. The show, it didn't have ratings early on.
Oh, okay.
And NBC. I mean, there was this time where I didn't think. I was like, oh man. So every season, I was like, man, please renew this. Please renew this. And so finally, it got such a big following where you didn't have to worry about it anymore. It was the same thing with Seinfeld. Yeah. Seinfeld almost got axed early on.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's a show about nothing.
It's hard to sell a show about nothing, but it became one of the, in my opinion, the best show ever on television in terms of what it was able to do. And I still watch Seinfeld. As a matter of fact, I actually had this shirt on before I put this one on this morning. I had a shirt on that said "Serenity Now," which is one of my favorite sayings from one of the Seinfeld episodes.
Oh yeah, I saw that on your Facebook timeline.
Yeah, so you've done. Matt's done his research. So yeah, my wife got me this shirt that says "Serenity Now," and it's funny because I typically work with a younger group at the station. I'm easily one of the oldest at the station, and so. But I love this. There's this younger generation that's coming up that's watching Seinfeld now, and for us to talk about it because it's a show about nothing. So, yeah.
And that's the beauty of streaming. Excuse me. That's the beauty of like online streaming is you can go back and watch Seinfeld in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, I highly suggest it. You know what's crazy is I never watched Friends up until maybe a year or two ago, where I had this. We were talking about it at work, and they were like, "You haven't seen Friends?" And I was like, "No, I didn't watch it." And then we had these kids in. It was like a 4-H group on Studio 4, and this kid, somebody said something. I said, "You haven't seen what?" I said, "They're making fun of me because I haven't seen Studio 4." And this like kid, he was like a freshman or whatever, like looked at me and was like, "You haven't seen Friends?" I was like, "Oh." This kid's like throwing shade at me, and so I was like, I guess I should go back and watch it. And so my wife and I went back and went through it all, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Again, it was mindless.
Yeah, I haven't watched it since the internet, but I used to watch it after school all the time. It's a good show.
That show ended when I was in elementary school.
There's another way that Matt and Zane making me feel old, but that's all right.
But the only reason I remember that is because it was my music teacher at Oakdale who really loved that show. And I remember going to Mr. Royster.
Yep.
Yeah, that's his name.
Oh,
Scott.
nice.
Yeah, we used to call him Mr. Rooster.
Yeah. So Scott, I knew Scott. I used to mentor at Oakdale. So Miss Cox, Shelley Cox.
Yeah, I remember Miss Cox.
so they're still some of our best friends. Like
Really?
we see and talk to them all the time. As a matter of fact, I was over at their house last weekend. Her husband is a good friend of mine. So that's how I got to know Mr. Royster. Is I went and I would spend a couple of days a month hanging out at Oakdale.
Really?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we'd have these. I would host these parties. The all the little tests that you guys have to take.
It was a toss test back in the day.
And so we would play Guitar Hero. We'd do this deal. We'd eat pizza and play, just trying to get them loosened up for the test. I used to push that quite a bit. I loved Oakdale. Shelley Belogaloo, Miss Belogaloo, was probably your principal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's my principal.
I thought the world of Shelley. Miss Holder was the assistant principal at that time. Now she's a principal somewhere else.
Really?
So yeah, I had. Oakdale was good.
Yeah, I remember Miss Belogaloo because she didn't suspend me one time because I had stole some of Mrs. Cox's pencils from her desk.
Well, I'm gonna text Miss Cox right now and let her know that you did that and you didn't get suspended. We're gonna have to come up with a punishment. So you went to Oakdale and probably off to Bowie from there, right?
Yes, sir.
And then to Caprock.
Yeah.
That's kind of the trajectory that I would have been on because I was in Humphreys Highland and Oakdale in that area a majority of my time. So
And then they all go to Bowie from there.
yeah, I would have jumped over to Bowie and then from Bowie into Caprock. But I went out to Boys Ranch the summer of my 6th to 7th grade year, and so I was out there. But yeah, there you go. Now, what school? Tell me a little bit about.
He's from
about
Canyon.
You grew up in Canyon.
I started out at Bivens Elementary, and then we moved to Canyon when I was in like the very end of 4th grade.
Yeah.
And so then I just went to Canyon to WT, and
Yeah.
now I'm here.
I love Canyon. We regularly go down there. I love the atmosphere down at the square.
Mm-hmm.
The Imperial Tap Room is great.
I still haven't been to Barrel and Pie, but I hear good things.
Dude, you gotta go. There's this. They have some of the best pizza. It's so good. It's one of my favorite places. It's good.
Nice.
I thought they were
Definitely
selling
check it out.
pies, like actual pies.
It's a pizza
And
pie.
actual barrels. So.
Yeah. It's good though. And then they've got Palace Coffee. The original Palace Coffee was down
I
in
love
Canyon.
Palace. Palace is cool.
Shout out to Patrick and Crystal. They're friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
They had this vision of you should have him on your podcast to talk coffee, man. That dude.
Oh, absolutely.
What's his name?
His name is Patrick. I'll give you all the stuff here off air so that way you can call him.
Cool.
They're just good people. Patrick and Crystal Burns. They're just great. But you're talking about somebody who loves coffee to the nth degree and knows more about coffee than I'll ever. He's forgotten more about coffee than I know or will ever know. And so they're really active with Amarillo Little Theater. They're really great. But their story about starting Palace and kind of their journey through it, I think a lot of them. So you have to have them on. They'd be great guests.
It's awesome.
I didn't know that Palace was a local place.
Yeah, man.
I thought it was like worldwide. Or
I like the
Starbucks.
one in Canyon a lot because I don't know what that building used to be.
Yeah,
But it looks really cool in there.
Because that's where it all started, and so that's my favorite. That's my favorite one. And then my second favorite is the Palace off of 34th and Bell right there, because one of my best friends, Matt, did a lot of the construction work for that. He's a general contractor and did a lot of the stuff for that. So he also did helped with the one downtown. So they're good people.
Yeah, coffee's a big thing here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When you go to Palace, just the way people dress it's like its own culture.
Man.
I don't know if it's considered hipster. I don't know, but
I think
it's
hipster might be one of them. But
Yeah, but hipsters don't like being called hipsters.
No, I'm not a hipster. My sister used to work through my Boys Ranch family that took me in. My sister, from that side, she actually worked at Palace for a long time. She loved it. It's a good place. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, man, that all started in Canyon. They had been passionate about coffee, and man, they just went after it. They had this dream of doing this, and they not only are they're making a great living, but they're making a difference in the coffee industry. Man, they've won a lot of awards.
Really?
That's awesome. A friend of mine's wife was in like a local competition, like a barista competition.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know those existed, but like she almost won it. And
People
I
get
was like,
serious
wow.
about their coffee.
They
Man.
really do.
It's legit, man.
It's
So
like
I would go in there.
It's like a cooking show.
Yeah, I would go in there and like they're having like coffee tastings, and it's to the nth degree, man. I'm pretty elementary with my coffee. Like I'm not.
Put it in the coffee pot.
I'm
press
like
the button.
I'm not like quite at Maxwell House, but you know or Folgers, but but it's crazy. You guys should have them on.
Definitely.
Yeah,
It'd be awesome.
It's amazing how many different ways you can actually make coffee too.
I know. There's like the slow pour. There's the my friend. I kind of joke around because they're all real fancy with their coffee. They make some really fancy coffee. I recently turned 46. I had my birthday on Wednesday, and my wife was like, "What do you want?" I was like, "I really don't need it. I don't want anything." But then we have some friends of ours, Chill and Katie, and they had this one coffee machine. I was like, "Man, why don't you ask about that coffee machine? Because that makes the best coffee." When I go over to their house, I'm like, "That coffee is like a whole different level." I was like, "Maybe I need to invest in a legit coffee maker."
Mm-hmm.
So, but I can't do my wife can't drink coffee. She's on decaf, so I can't make a pot because
She diabetic?
she just doesn't like it. Caffeine makes her weird. She
Just assume diabetes.
Yeah, he went.
My grandma drinks decaf coffee, and she's diabetic, so I just kind of correlated the two. Like maybe she might be diabetic.
No. She just caffeine she doesn't handle caffeine well. So for me to make a pot of coffee just doesn't work for her. So and I know that like some diehard coffee people are going to hate this, but like most of the time we do Keurig. That's what we do. It's lame, I know it, but it's easy.
My mom just got one of those, and it's so nice too.
You just pop it in.
Pop those little things in, just press the button.
Nice. Yeah, I got one of those at work. Pretty cool.
All right, let me introduce you guys to something that will. If you do Keurig, and again, I'm not. I support our local coffee shops and this that, and the other. But in my life, it's just I got to have it fast. I got to have it quick. We live
Always on the go.
Yeah, I started buying this coffee called it's like San Francisco Bay coffee, and they come in these. It's just man, in terms of like Keurig coffee. Like it's up there for me. I don't know. You have to try it.
San Francisco coffee.
Yeah, it's like San Francisco Bay coffee or something like that. I'll look it up. But I'm constantly on Amazon rolling things out. Amazon makes it too easy.
Yeah, it really does. And there's just a ton of companies popping up. Like it seems like there's a new coffee company every day.
Yeah, San Francisco Bay 1 cup. And that's what it's called, San Francisco Bay. And their French. Roast is really good, and then
Nice.
They've got good decaf too. So there you go.
Do you add anything to your coffee, like
No,
creamer?
man, no.
Straight
Give it
black?
to me straight. Give it
Yeah,
to me.
that's what I do, too.
I like it, too.
Don't tape my coffee. Don't do that.
I like tasting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
I was trying to do like a ketogenic low carb thing for a while, and I'd put like butter and heavy whipping cream in it, and it was good. But then I just went back to black.
Well, when I first started, that's how I would do the French vanilla creamer. It was like, and I was like, man, what? I have this thing where I don't like to drink my sugar. I like to eat my sugar, so I typically don't drink sodas. I'll have some every once in a while, but I don't put any sugar in anything that I drink because I enjoy eating chocolate. Like I'm like, give me a Reese's peanut butter cup, man. That's gold for me. I would rather eat that sugar than drink that sugar. But when I first got started, that's kind of what I did. Now I will tell you, back in the day, like one of my favorite local coffees was, I used to love the Roasters blend, and they do Black and Tan now, which is still really really good. But yeah, the Roasters blend, man, that was my jam. Oh, it was so good. And that was really my gateway into like really appreciating like real coffee. That was kind of the thing that kind of opened it up. Craig Gaultier, I went to college with him, and so that was kind of my introduction to it. And now we have a lot of local places that that are really good.
What are your favorite local food spots?
Oh man, y'all don't give me now. Food, that's my passion.
Same.
Like I love food. So here we go. I mean, I'm gonna blow you out.
Wait, before you start, I got to ask.
Okay.
Are you a Judy's fan?
Oh man, Judy's was the bomb.
No, rest in peace.
Their breakfast burritos, they were better than any other place. So I would intentionally, when I would go over to Oakdale, I would stop by Judy's, or when and that's where we would have like lunch deals where I'd go eat with fifth grade teachers because of the mentorship that I would do over there. So we would pick up Judy's, but their breakfast burritos, man, they were so good. Unfortunately, I would go play golf out at Comanche Trail, and so I would stop by there and get the burritos earlier. But one of the tough things for me is I don't handle cigarette smoke well.
Yeah, I knew you were about to go there.
And
Every time you walk in there, it's just that big old fresh whip of cigarettes.
Man, it's just like, and so there wasn't like a break in between the two, so I would always have to get it to go and eat it in the car. Like, but Judy's, and it's places like that man, I search those places out. There's like a taco shop that I love that's over by my house. It's how do you pronounce it? It's EL and then it's GIRO. So,
El
Hero.
El Giro.
El Giro, like a rooster.
Well, it's hero in Italian. So
but is it a rooster in Spanish? Whatever.
I'm a coconut. I don't know.
You don't.
Wait, I just look like it.
You're asking the wrong brown guys.
Okay, so let me tell you though, in terms of like their tacos are $1.35 a piece. They got it's just so good. Go over there. That's one of my favorite little places that I go. Their pastor is really good. Their chicken's really good. But you would drive by that place and you wouldn't give it a second thought. You'd be like, man, there's no way I'm going in there. And I love that place. So I love Yellow City street food.
I love that place too.
I think Scott.
Is that on 6th Street?
They are over.
It's right next to Crunch now, but it used to be on 6th Street.
So you know where Thai Erewhon is?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like it's over there off Wolfland, like 2 things down. In terms of, they're so good. I think Ren and Scott are so good at what they do. I love going in there. I love everything about everything they've ever made. That even they take me outside of my comfort zone so often, but in the most delightful way.
Yeah.
Because I'll be like, man, what am I about? What am I about to eat? What did you? And I'm serious. It's so good. So that place is definitely on there.
Catfish tacos there, amazing.
They have catfish tacos?
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Man,
It
it
is.
is. Like, I'm telling you, but sometimes they'll do like this Asian slaw on top. He just has a way of combining all these different flavors with these microgreens, and it's so good. So that's definitely on there. One place, like on my birthday, I go there every year. I go to Golden Light. I think they have the best burger. Like, I go over there and get their green chili bacon cheeseburger. Angela is the owner over there. I go in there regularly. I love that place.
It's called the Golden Light Cantina, right?
Yes, yeah.
They just packed that place out like
We did a show there a couple weeks ago.
about last week, right?
I think so.
That's my favorite local dive place, and I don't get out much anymore. But that's my favorite local dive place. And then the burgers next door are so good. I'm just a huge fan. Obviously, I love 575. We have a lot of great pizza places here in town. There's like Fire Slice, 575. A couple of our like food trucks recently. Nomad's Pizza is incredible. Dude, I ate a pizza from there the other day. I'm sorry, I can talk about food. I can talk about
I'm
food all
hooked.
day.
I'm with you.
I'm hungry.
So Nomad's Pizza. I went over to Pondicetta to have a beer. Pondicetta, favorite local brewery. They're just
Really cool place.
They're killing it. Their stuff is just so good. A couple of Canyon kids. They're from Canyon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I need to have them on.
Yeah, you got to have them on. They're incredible. So I went over there, and Nomad's Pizza was there, and it had a macaroni. This is going to sound crazy. It had a macaroni and cheese base for the pizza, all right? And then it had brisket, and then it had like this cheese sauce, but it was a beer cheese sauce, and then it had Korean barbecue sauce on top of it.
Oh, my goodness.
And my wife and I are really adventurous when it comes to food. And man, we loved it. But they're incredible. Reagan's brick oven is amazing. My favorite Thai. I love Thai food. Like, I will go to the ends of the earth for good Thai food.
You're a Thai Town guy?
Well, I am a Thai Star guy.
Okay.
That's off the boulevard. What would be just east of the newest fire station over there. Like, if you come down Grand and you take a right on the boulevard and you go
Over
down
the bridge, right?
No, right before the bridge.
Okay.
It's literally like if you hit the bridge, you've gone too far, and it's this little blue and white building.
Yeah.
And Brian and Dow, those are the two owners. Dow's from Thailand. Brian is from Nebraska. They got married a long time ago. But anyway, I go in there. Their chicken pad thai
It's
is
delicious.
oh my gosh, it's so good. Jackie, my coworker, loves Thai Diamond. I've had some of their stuff. Their stuff is really good too. Bangkok Tokyo. I had a Bangkok Tokyo all the time.
I went there yesterday for the first time. Great place.
What'd you get?
I got a udon pad keemao.
Yeah, that's
That's what
good.
it was called. Yeah.
I love the Penang.
didn't know that.
I do their chicken Penang, but I say no vegetables. and just give me the chicken with the coconut curry sauce with the dill. Oh man, guys, my stomach right now is growling.
Yeah.
My girlfriend got a Captain Crunch roll, and that was delicious.
A Captain Crunch roll?
Yeah, it was
sweet?
like fried sushi roll.
It says Captain Crunch, but it doesn't really have anything to do with the cereal.
Yeah, it's like I was thinking. I was like, this doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it's really good though. Their sushi is incredible. Oh man, I just think of, and I know I'm leaving out. One of my favorite places to go grab dinner. I love Drunken Oyster.
That is a great place too.
Drunken Oyster is really good.
It's the first time I had a mule. I think that's what it's called when they bring out those little fancy drinks.
The Moscow Mule.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Those are really good.
They have great drinks. The owner over there is a friend of mine, Rory. She comes on our show regularly. That's good, man. I hit up Public House. As a matter of fact, we had my birthday dinner. We went with some friends last night and did that. It was good. My go-to drink is an old fashioned.
What's that?
Old fashioned.
That's what I meant to say. An old fashioned. That's what I had.
So an old fashioned, basically, it is it's a bourbon drink. I typically like it with a rye. In it, you have basically the whiskey. You got it's a little bit of sugar that you kind of muddle down with a little bit of orange, and then you throw in some bitters. And with a cherry on top of it, but man, I'm telling you,
it's art.
It really is. It's really good, and I love that these old drinks are making a comeback. Like that was a big deal. It's like if you ever watch Mad Men, that was a big thing. But yeah, both of those places make really really good drinks. I'm trying to think of some other places I really.
Are you Lupita's fan?
Yes,
okay.
I love Lupita's.
They just opened up a strip club. Did you see that?
No, they did not.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I'm not BSing.
What, man? Y'all stick to your lane. Go with some tacos and burritos.
No, like you can go in there and you can eat a burrito while you watch strippers.
No,
I swear, I'm being dead serious with you.
No.
I've never been, but
coming up at 5, strippers at Lupita's.
Yeah, I don't. That is definitely something I do not endorse. What? No, like the one that's over off of Grand and 10th.
No.
Which one?
They opened up I think it's a new building.
Oh.
But they got this going on.
No.
I don't think strippers and food should go together.
No.
I just can't say strippers, especially the one on 10th. No.
Like when the Jungle was in town,
No.
people would tell me they have the best steaks. I'm like, why are you eating a steak there? It sounds like the dirtiest steak of all time.
For the record, like I am against all of that. Like you had me at tacos and burritos, Lupitas, and you absolutely.
Went left.
Where is it? Like I don't even think.
I have no clue. I know it's a real thing. I have friends that have been there before, but I've never been.
I don't know. All of a sudden, the city gonna go looking into that because I don't know if that's coded for that. But yeah. Anyway,
Call the health inspector.
Hey, let's get. I don't want that subject. Let's get back to just straight up food.
Yeah,
That's
food.
Yeah, not good. I'm trying to think of another place that I.
For the record, that was his fault.
That was Zane.
That was Zane.
Put it all on me.
I can't confirm or deny anything he said. So
I'll take the smoke. I want it.
go if you haven't been to Barrel and Pie, I think they have some of the best pizza.
I'll check it out. Have you been to the? Are you a big seafood fan?
Mm-hmm.
You had the Lost Cajun. I went there a couple weeks ago.
You know what's funny?
It's a great place.
It's wonderful, and they. I've never been that big of a fried catfish guy. Now, it's okay. I went in there and I was like, man, I guess I am a catfish guy. Like I had some. It was so good. My kids love it. It's really good. But if you haven't been to. If you have not been over to Rory's, not the Lost Cajun, that was what you used to say, the Drunken Oyster, go over there and try that out. It's really
Definitely.
good. She's got some really good stuff. I never thought I would have liked a fried alligator. They had some of that. It's really good.
Over there at the Drunken Oyster?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
fried alligator. Yeah,
I've never had alligator before.
I don't think I'm a fan of crawfish, or maybe I just haven't tried the right crawfish. Are there any places you recommend locally?
I don't know if Rory has that on her menu right now. I've had crawfish and I love it. I like crawfish etouffee.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think there used to be a place in town called, what was it? Cajun Magic, I think. But yeah, I love crawfish. If you get a good crawfish boil, it's good. I like crawfish etouffee. It's one of my favorite one of my favorite dishes.
I like seeing pictures of the crawfish when there's a bunch of it, and then they have the potatoes and the corn on the cob.
That's a boil. Yeah, that's a crawfish boil.
I've never had it.
Oh man, it's life changing. I had a friend, Michael Galloway, used to. We would set those up over in Olson at his house, and he would get it flown in, and we would do this crawfish boil and add the corn, the sausage. Oh, it's so good. Man, why don't we get talking about food? I am so hungry right now.
I was gonna.
You want to kind of wrap it up?
Yeah, we can wrap it up soon. I wanted to ask another one.
Okay,
Are
go
there
ahead.
any like big franchises or big restaurants that you want to see come to Amarillo? That you're like, man, we need one of these.
And I'm going to say this for fear of offending someone, and I hope I don't. Because listen, the people that own Sharky's, I love Sharky's. It's one of my. I hit Sharky's all the time. I think their spicy ranch is like heavenly. I think it's so good, and I love that family. I love the Epps family. They are incredible. I remember, and I haven't eaten there in so long, but I used to love Freebird's burritos. I really did.
I haven't been there, but I hear a lot.
Yeah, we have a Chipotle, and I figure at some point we'd have that. I really enjoy that. But man, in terms of the big, huge chains, I try to stay pretty local. There are some big chain stuff that I'll do, but most of the time, if my wife and I are going to pick, we try to pick local. Like, for example, if I want Italian food, I'm going to Pescara's. I know Chef Juan over there and Tanya and that family. I think the key in life is making relationships happen and to live life with good people. And you do that, live life with good people and good food. And so I seek out these local places like Scott and Wren, what they're doing at Yellow City Street Food, what Rory's doing at her restaurant. Public House is a local place. Prime is local. Barrel and Pie is local. If you give me a restaurant and if you give me a kind of food you want to eat, I'll give you a local restaurant that will compete every day with the chains. And the chains are great. Like I've got friends that are great, and we have those people come on our show, and I like their food. I just a lot of times will intentionally seek out that local thing. Jackie Kingston and I did a thing not too long ago where and we caused some controversy with this. But we did this. It was during March Madness, and so Jackie came up with the idea of doing a food bracket.
Oh, I saw that.
64, and so we did 64 restaurants,
all local, right?
all local restaurants.
Who ended up winning that thing?
Sharky's.
Oh, really?
Right.
I see why that's controversial.
Now, again,
I agree.
And what I said to somebody is, and I like the Epps. It ended up being between Joe Taco in the finals, and how we didn't pick who we literally just filled out the bracket, and we tried to figure it. We even tried to do seeds. For example, I think my favorite food, if you said, Andy, what is your favorite? You've got to go there. Like I've never had a bad experience there, and there are a lot of, but OHMS is like top on my list. Most people haven't even gone there. They don't even know it exists.
I've never heard of it.
Exactly.
I called it Ohms for the longest time, and they're like, no, it's called OHMS.
OHMS. It's downtown. It's across from the what is now it's the tallest bank in downtown, First Bank Southwest. It's like right across the street from there in this little room. Their drinks are incredible. Their food is incredible. The best steak I've ever had in my life was from there.
Really?
Wow.
So it is this incredible place. But again, OHMS didn't make it very far because most people, the average person, they just don't go there. They should go there. It's really good. We had places like Thai Diamond that didn't do very well because most people off the beaten path. So what we discovered, there's another place that did really well. It's called Scratch Made, and they're in downtown Amarillo too. Little local place, but man, they're so good.
I've been meaning to go there. They have like a late night brunch. Like I think it's called Brumpkin or something like
Yeah,
that.
Brumpkin or something like that. Yeah. They're incredible. Yellow City Street Food did a really good job. But I think the winner of it's not an indictment on anything. We just did it to have fun. What caused controversy is like when you would have a really popular place beat out a really place that's like known for really good food. And I was like, at the end of the day, it ends up being like a popularity contest.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was like free advertising for all these restaurants. We just did it to have fun. But we had over It was over 60,000 people voted
Wow.
in that thing.
60,000?
And so you would be matched up, and sometimes Golden Light would be matched up, Burger Place would be matched up against a Mexican food place. People were like, well, how do you compare the two? We're like, we don't know. We just put
We don't
them
know.
together.
It's up to
just,
you.
just pick that one thing. And so, again, it was really cool. But, that caused a...
Who was in the finals against Sharkies? Did you already mention that?
I'm trying to remember how that bracket was. I think it was 5-7. It was 5-7-5 versus Sharkies on one side of the bracket. Okay, so
That's
and
a
then
super hard comparison.
Yeah, and so then
Yeah.
on the other side you had, I think it was either Scratch Made or Yellow City Street Food against Joe Taco. And everybody was like complaining. And again, Joe Taco, local restaurant, their patio seating is incredible. People were like getting on, and again, don't read the comment section. They got on the comments, were like, how could, I can't believe this is such a joke. And we're like,
I'm outraged.
people just voted. Like, I'm like, that's what had happened. It was organic. It just kind of came out that way.
Fake
and
news.
So, again,
I can already see the comments. Like, they paid for them to win.
yeah, it really was just this organic, fun little contest that we did just to match up with March Madness, and it didn't mean anything. It's not like they got a plaque or anything, even though I probably should take Brent a plaque that says you're the Amarillo Eats champion of 2019, but we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
Man, do you guys got any other questions for me?
No.
I think we
good.
covered everything we wanted to, so, and more.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on here. You guys can reach out to me. I'm out there on Twitter at Andy Justus. I'm on Facebook. Look up the most of the stuff I do. I don't do a whole lot on my personal page. I do most of it on my professional page. You guys can jump on there, and then you can check me on KMR Local 4 every Monday through Friday, 5, 6, and 10. And then I'm over on Fox 14 at 9 o'clock, and then I do Studio 4, which is a cool little show. It's in the afternoon. Most people are. It runs at 4 o'clock, and we have chefs on, and it's not your typical news. It's a show. We have cooks on. We talk about things, and I want to leave you with the thought of that the elections are Saturday. Okay, it is a Saturday. You're gonna have to. If you don't early vote on Monday and Tuesday, you're gonna have to go on Saturday. But don't complain about the process if you're not willing to invest your own personal time in it. And we have good people. We have good people running, and I believe Amarillo is a good place, and good people in public office make it better.
Absolutely.
But you have to invest your time, and don't just put somebody's sign in your front yard. Don't just complain about it on Facebook when an election doesn't turn out the way you want it. People often talk about national politics and I'm this way or that way. Well, you make your biggest difference in these local elections. I mean, this is where it happens, and so be a part of it. Be an active member in it. I am glad that we have a lot of people running in this election. I think it's going to be exciting. I'm going to be working. Typically, we don't work on Saturdays, but because we cover the elections, that's why we call ourselves your local election leader. We want to be there. We want to make sure it happens, and so. Early vote. I would strongly suggest you get out and do it tomorrow. Early voting is easy. You may have to stand in line on Saturday, which is okay. People paid with their lives for us to be able to do this, and let's take advantage of it. And let's and literally, I'm guessing the demographic of your audience is probably a younger group.
Yes, sir.
Get out there and be passionate about it. Make it. Look, we're passionate about so many things. We're passionate about Endgame. Oh man, did you see Endgame? Man, that was awesome. It was incredible.
Forgot to
Great.
discuss that one.
Yeah, and I haven't. Don't give me any spoilers. I haven't watched, but we're adamant about talking about these things. Let's be adamant about being in the political process and knowing that change happens when passion is involved. And so let's get out there and do that. So you guys did watch Endgame?
Yes, sir.
I haven't yet.
You haven't?
Well, he kind of showed me clips of it.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't watch any of the shows up until I had seen like Iron Man, but I had my coworkers that were younger than me. They put together this awesome list of where I go and what I do. And so literally back in November or December is when I started tackling that list, and I got all the way through it. And,
Wow.
And man, it
Commitment.
was, but I loved it. I mean, I was in during Iron Man, but then all of a sudden when Captain America, I was like, oh, Captain America changed it for me. That's when I really kind of put the pedal to the metal. I was like, all right, now I'm in. Like Captain America got me and took me all the way through it. And I haven't watched Captain Marvel yet, but I'm really excited about that one. And then I need to hit Endgame. But when you have a 6 and an 8-year-old, there's not a whole lot that you're watching that's not Disney and not Pixar. So
And it can be kind of hard for you to find some free time too. That movie's 3 hours long.
I know. How did you make it through without going to the bathroom?
Oh, I watched it at home.
I don't even want to know how you did that. I don't want to know.
I don't endorse this.
I don't endorse it either. I just had to see it.
Well, guys, thanks for having me on the program. I appreciate it. Reach out to me on social media. I try to be pretty active out there and doing that. And man, I appreciate.
Yeah, thanks.
We
For
appreciate
coming
you coming,
yeah,
Andy.
Definitely. You dropped a lot of gold.
A lot of gems.
I'm excited to go back and listen to again. So
Yeah.
definitely appreciate it. You already said where everyone can find you. Get out and vote, everybody.
Vote.
Make sure you're registered. Pay attention.
Well, thank you for tuning into the Heard That podcast, and we are out.
Bye.